often wonder that. If it's at the end of the line, you can like trying to. If you go back to something else to delete it, and then you want to go back to the end of what you're writing, so you can continue, you have to send, like accidentally send it.
Mani be me ho, oh 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 mani be me ho. Mani be me ho, the culture to the last on the Megaton Congress on the Constitution. The Zawi Sanjim, he belongs 17 to Sanji, the top work category, that deba, deba, Naunja, Yavitin, and News also. Deba, the Lantan, and Goyore, Benadogan, Naunji, Jabata, the Chicago, my Naunji, Yado, Yore. Naunji, Sai, Nidu, Solid, Lin, the road is all the testing in Naunji. This same day, some other thing you don't to the shabby or shabby to the control debate. The debate, Shibadra, do each some debate, some mure, the debate, temporary, the town debate, control you think young time to drink or it. The Tatama so in other man, young in Madras so hard about the Tatomini boy and ready, Japanese boat, the boy and the Jerry, Tatomka didn't. Tata, Taban Meba, Cashin, that is Hako, but the Taban Bidi Lapiori, the England, the Kashika Saji, Yorisi, Sajin, not Pebbles. They tell you all my marriage about the Saji longer the Chuka, you did the hammer, then Saji do chase or dead or somewhere. The young in Madame Sanji says, Zok the Sanji married, long 70, the she knew something, Sanji Yudiris. There's Sanji Chuka the longer, there is Chuka Yoris, the Sanji Kosovo Yondation, the Taylor, the Yondin, she said this on a DNA, Tamati by Yori. The Taylor, each debate, the really she over it. That's Sanji, the Sumba legendary. That just some say that on the story just varied. Something in the sword, something Gawari, Dawari, something the Gia, the captain in Torija. Tatu Sanji, something that and soldiers don't tell the Steva. Three Gala, the little said, something is about Garchen Milarepa, soul upon the Zubagon. So this young man with their teta is just a bad, Dharma tepa, Duba tepa, Tata, so that they were majority young, you are married. Dog they were Togo, Saji Togo, Suji Jackson, Saji Togo, something, nothing young, the young Yori. Yen, now nobody, Nadi, the Satan would nobody, now some Jason not say over it. There is a town which is divided the degenerate, because of degenerate, that was not going to now him on the lago. The 10 minutes is a Dharma tepa, Duba tepa, Yichik tepa, Yichik and Nasan we were winning Nasan Sagi to come the Ramadan. 3 Yato shells or some judges on Maris. Now in a banderis. That Yiki was not our Tia Messi. Taking the Trinity Taka, now in a body, Duba tepa, so San Diego. You San Diego, not San Diego, San Diego, not the matter, San Diego, Hakone. This was about the Balici or the Latin Dubate, true, not San Diego, you logo to Parisian dog, not San Diego, some delicious San Diego, or my Dubate.
So there was actually one line from the previous song that I actually left out, and so he was pointing that out, so thank you for that. And so that's the last line on page 1. Faith is like the mist of autumn. When it vanishes, you must persevere. And so in order to attain enlightenment, we need to develop faith. and it is like the mist, A mist arises very, very quickly. Like faith can quickly arise, but also it can quickly disappear, like mist. So mist arises due to various temporary conditions, like the earth and the steam and so on, evaporating, and warmth coming together. And in a similar way, you have some love and compassion, and from that wisdom arises, and then from that faith in the three jewels arise. And the firm faith is threefold. There is the clear faith, the trusting faith, and the longing faith. The clear faith is where you understand the qualities of the three jewels. For example, in the 7-branch prayer, we supplicate to not pass into nirvana, and that is the antidote to doubt and also the cause for cultivating faith. So what kind of doubt is that? In some of the lower vehicles, some people say that the Buddha was here a long time ago, like a person, a human being, and now he's not here anymore. So they see more the historical side of the Buddha Shakyamuni, but do not really understand the qualities of the Dharmakaya and Sambhogakaya. And then they believe that there is an end to the Buddha's existence. So actually, the Buddha Shakyamuni, his appearance was just the outer form. That was the Buddha. But his real quality was in the mind. And the real quality of a Buddha is also threefold. It is that a Buddha possesses an omniscient mind, omniscient wisdom, and also loving compassion, and the power to grant protection. And from that, these qualities are complete in the Dharmakaya and Sambhogakaya and Nirmanakaya. So if you understand the qualities of the three kayas, you understand those three qualities that a Buddha has, omniscience and so on. So when you know of the Buddha's quality, then an inspirational kind of faith arises. And then a trusting faith also arises, and trusting faith is mainly to trust in karma. So the Buddha taught on the relative level the teachings on karma. So it is to trust in that, in karma, the Buddha's teachings. And that is that you trust that the cause of love is the cause of happiness. And therefore, knowing that you will protect your love even more than you would your own body, your own life force. If you are able to sustain your love in this way, it will lead to birth in the higher realms temporarily and ultimately enlightenment. So if you're able to hold it as dear, even more dear than your own life force, then you have developed a trusting faith. And then if you have trusting faith, when you encounter difficult circumstance, you will overcome it, and you will be able to maintain your mind of love. Like yesterday, we said, Milarepa said, the root of the lower realms is anger. Therefore, cultivate patience, even at the cost of your life. So that is the trusting faith. And then there is the longing faith, and so that is really to long for freedom, happiness. Everyone really wants to be happy, and we want to attain enlightenment. We think, I want to attain enlightenment. And however, there still is this thought of I want to attain enlightenment. So there still is this fixation, this sense of an I. And in order to attain enlightenment, that must disappear. So on the relative level, first we understand the workings of karma, and then on the ultimate level, finally we have to get rid of this concept of I. And then based on the three kinds of faith, we attain the state of enlightenment. So you think I want to attain enlightenment, but you should really consider, if I think in this way, can I really attain enlightenment? So those who have some intelligence would know that that's actually precisely the reason why I'm not yet enlightened. It's because I want to attain enlightenment, because there still is this fixation of I. In order to attain enlightenment, I must forget about the I and think about others. So that is the real longing faith. And that is based on a knowledge that I want to attain enlightenment, but in order to attain enlightenment, I must cultivate an altruistic mind and get rid of self-grasping. For as long as I grasp at a self, I cannot be enlightened. So that is the longing and trusting faith all together, actually. So in order to attain enlightenment, we need to develop an altruistic mind.
대바의 양다도 지금 나도 주용 지시거리 강로거든 땅아는 통로와 가보바게 남초는 진짜하게 요라 다베치지 용디 저송로에 어쩌고는데 다베치지 용디 거르세요 가보 남초는 진짜하게 배패는 것을 용디 매마 탑지 때는 때 고라고 도사보 때세는 제 탑지 서는 노르디나더니 다 보바게 막게랍 탑지 후이들 게랍 탑지게 담배지 야야요 고지 책대 나타 양장도 라고 요리 빼야고도 요리 간라고 그래 다른 집보서 잘 보고 찌르 고조까지 다 대화 집게 돼서 집고 고조까지 그래시 가리세네 서서 가리 고조까지 그래 고조는 레줌데 띵 요리시 레줌데 띵이 controlli shrablatini samhiji musola lamtinores tattiran kamana sambata hiji temda lunga sawa karina ti jotelsa deva jongores deve samtisa hiji la dapo jashiba de control karnesi ti deva tamti control karnesi 다들 동에 강에서 그돈 문제래와 걸래 이제 고잡대는 문에 상로치라던 거 말이 다들 하자 보고 지치 뭐요래 이런 거저 가는데 돈 문제래와 책이죠 내래 다들 차상 매바 차선 내래 거든 상로치라던 거 말이 대로서 대주 주의시지 지책이 배편들이 책 등사본도 무슨 때냐 대
So in order to really develop faith again and again, we need to understand the qualities of the Dharma. There's this text by Gampopa, the precious garland of the supreme path, and in the end of that book there is a chapter that speaks of the 10 qualities of the Dharma. And actually this book, the precious garland of the supreme path, actually has helped my own understanding really a lot, actually, because I don't have a lot of learning. It's very easy to understand, but actually very meaningful, very profound. And so actually that also reminds me of one like kind of proverb that Tibetans always say, especially the older generation. There's these two lines that they always say. It's a custom, and that's actually a very good teaching. So if, for example, everything goes well today and you're happy, then they say that if you're happy, then it is the kindness of the three jewels. Why is your happiness the kindness of the three jewels? It's because the three jewels taught you karma. It is because they taught you the path of love and compassion. And then you have engaged in actions of body and speech with a mind of love, and as a result, you're happy today. Also, your ability to maintain love and compassion, this mindfulness, really was taught to you by the three jewels. So for this reason, we say that all happiness is the kindness of the three jewels. And then the second line says, so if you're suffering today, then they say, if when there is suffering, then this is my own karma. So with that, they just close the door to much thinking. Actually, that's a really great quality of the Tibetans. When I'm happy, it's the kindness of the three jewels. When I suffer, it's my own karma. Actually, even if they lose everything they have, they still would just think, well, that's my karma, and then they wouldn't think anything else about that, because they really trust in karma. So personally, I find that this line is actually very profound. So we need to understand the qualities of the Dharmakaya and the Sambhogakaya. So when we think of the Buddha, like the Buddha Shakyamuni, then often we just think of his physical form as a human being. But actually this is not the actual Buddha. The Buddha himself said, don't cling to my physical form, but remember the words. And so actually for this reason we can say the Buddha is still there, because he has that quality of Dharmakaya and Sambhogakaya. Also we can learn about that when we read the Milarepa Guru Yoga. There is also this one line by Jigden Sumgön in there, where he says that your Dharmakaya nature, or the Dharmakaya nature pervades all the reaches of space, the entire space. And so what actually, or how does it pervade? It is, the mind is empty, and the nature of this empty mind is wisdom. When you realize it, then we call it primordial wisdom. And not realizing it, we call it the dualistic consciousness. So we mentioned before, Chikden Sumgön had said, everything that is done in this world is done by the Buddha. So everything really is Buddha. The essence of the Buddha really is this union of wisdom and compassion. That we should understand to be the Buddha. That's the Buddha and the Dharma, wisdom and compassion. Also the Buddha said, Buddha nature pervades all sentient beings. So we should not see the Buddha as this solid entity, this human being. But actually his nature is wisdom and compassion, and that pervades everything. It's everywhere. Everything that is done in this world is done with this wisdom mind, and that should be recognized as the Buddha. And we can really see that it's really everywhere. Everything that's done anywhere is done by the Buddha, is done by wisdom mind. For example, an animal has a mind and therefore also has that Buddha mind, this cause of enlightenment. Or even a tree, for example. Even a tree, we can see it as a nirmanakaya, also performing a Buddha activity. For example, a tree becomes shelter from the cold in winter and from the heat in summer. It becomes a dwelling place for millions of little beings, and also it provides them food and so on. So actually, as Vajrayana practitioners, from the perspective of secret mantra, those who have a pure perception would even see a tree as a Buddha manifestation. And then all the sentient beings within that also have Buddha nature. So it's really everywhere and all pervasive. So this ability to create happiness, that is the quality of wisdom. And the essence of wisdom and compassion together is the Buddha. And as a result of this union, beings strive towards happiness. We want to create happiness. In our refuge card, and that is why I added that so clearly in the refuge card, that explains how the Buddha and Dharma are actually within you, which implies within everyone and everywhere. So it says the essence of the Buddha is your own wisdom. The essence of the Dharma is love and compassion. So if you know that, you will not think that the Buddha is so far away and he already passed away many centuries, thousands of years ago. The Buddha is actually still there. He's really everywhere. Everything that anyone does is done by the Buddha. So the essence of the Buddha is wisdom. The essence of the Dharma is love and compassion. And what wisdom does is mindfulness or wisdom maintains love and compassion. And if you maintain love, then compassion arises just naturally. So this is how we need to understand the Buddha, this union of wisdom and compassion that creates all of the benefit and happiness in this world. And on the ultimate level, when it becomes perfected, it creates this unchanging, everlasting happiness. And so this also arises from the trusting faith, the faith that trusts in karma.
다니 공부 좋아지네. 아청 팔도 서봐 좀 맹장도 기도지. 이랑 팔도 서봐 쪽하리. 다 공부를 가봐자서 정료래. 지네들이 담나래pe 링송말이 팔도 서봐 쩌들이 상지 가면 요래. 문에서다 저당 고도 산초 생물 감이 요배 학원도 네 등심을 습지 잡더서 주차도 저와서 생겨로 롱도지 동바다 롱요 마치 잡은 안이는 가르치고 샘샘 제스미세 밤마서랑서 어디 나 다 책 주바 짜자 라상노상에 장 그치 개송세 제저 상노당은 다냐민스 만나나 그 하고 요레스 다른 냐민세나래 공부하는 냐민 대좀 책도 따라 두 녀석이 뭐라시 그 같이 되니 녀석이 뭐 라인 거요 뭐 좋지 뭐도요 뭐 좋지는 거요 배는 뭐 좋지를 또 맞지는 거요 나가면 좋아 잡나 이 말이니 다서 메타 잡세지 그 등상 말이니 고소랑더니 작합작합더니 매 접하는 거 가로 전도 뭐 똑쳐버리 대자에서이 차영거래 대회면서 이사가 양리 계획을
So now we're coming to page 3, the next song. And so here then this teacher, this Geshe says, it seems you have indeed heard the name of the 6 perfections. Well, how then should one practice the 10 perfections? And here Milarepa sang a song in response. And so actually the 10 perfections are only mentioned in the context of having attained enlightenment. In the context of the relative bodhicitta, we mostly speak about the 6 perfections. So it says, Lord Marpa, the translator, who is so kind, please be a refuge for sentient beings of the polluted age. Grant your blessings that Dharma may pacify jealousy. So this is the degenerate age, and the more times degenerate, the more coarse the afflictions of beings become. They become increasingly more powerful. For example, in the old days, if you would make war, or you are angry with someone, then there would be 2 people maybe pointing a gun at each other and killing each other. Now, when somebody gets angry, they can destroy an entire country all at once, and tens and thousands of people just turn them into dust. So this is how powerful it becomes now. So it is just like this. And so he's saying now to that Geshe, this is not the time to think about debating. Your entire life you have spent debating. Now you have gotten old. Now is the time to practice. If you do not practice now, you will encounter difficulties.
적당 몇 득박 같이 치는 주가 총거리 대승이 막 자사 그리 인나였더니 답변나 말아베 파신장이나나더니 디바통이요 말이 옛날 고치 제일 먹을 따뜻하다 담에다 네 데빌로이신 살이 옛날였더니 다 철도는 집어서도 그 동물 강리지나 단디기니 거래 단디를 집에서 나래시 그 말을 봐도 단디방 야 설류거든이 좀 똑딱선을 끊었더니 냐미지 생각도 나상게 거 상고요 심지 삼제도는 남친 고방도 심지 삼제도는 상게 토끼랬더니 거기잖니 제기요리 나디 요 말했어 내가 나디 미선을 집어서도 그 동요 말했어 대회를 짐바데 나디기 보이지 봐 대하 코네 대다다 가장 집어가 고시에요리 에더니 너희가 다니시는 늘 고아지 양 가까이요래 제가 당소 주바 집바 가야 동야 매일 며칠이나 나디요래 다 뭐지나랑 상들지는 랑그 보통 상도 공하지 사고고지는데 나디요래 저 나디를 하지 대회는 나디 방법 타 강리에들 그 사제에 더지는 배는 쏘네 이 생고만한 것도 족속이 나다 봤어. Pena, Mijigla, Rangi, Taneo Cavallo, Duce, Case, one young. Saji could do tell something, Taka, tell them one young. Teletini, oh, these are two Tama Deva, more Tamjeta, Marian Torgi, Saji, Saji got a turn on your list. Saji Sancho landed in, he loved it on the job giver at the man they were the toggers. No Saji Nanglish. Tambua Saji, not your tail long to her, not coming on much. Now the dog was Saji, some sanitary, not this hour you marry. The way was some to the subject Nanglish, dancing in your door, dancing in your water. That time may vary. Dadi the one is not the give our get at the data song to get at the Numochi John Rota to get on one of get at the Joy to get out here. But give it our son to the give it out here, Rotorado Yori. The Venquago Yori, the dinner, the Dadi she was Jimba, so that's our Dadi is a Dodo Hakosona. Three Dadi, Papa Tata, Karina, Manager, don't be home, some she or the some good also Hakosona. Three laptop, you penna. Oh, Jibaton Kari Dadi in Boris, that's our Hakoto. The Dadi men, the Maton Mareso.
And then in the so at the end of that second verse, then he says, "The afflictions of beings in a polluted age are coarse, impossible to bear for those with negativity." So then he goes on with the first paramita of generosity. Aside from relinquishing self-clinging, there is no other perfection of generosity. So this is how now Milarepa actually explains the paramitas, so they have, those geishas have seen it all differently, more from the outer perspective. But so he goes right to its essence. What is the real purpose of practicing generosity? Why are we practicing generosity? Generosity has to become an antidote to self-grasping or self-clinging, and also holding back and stinginess and so on. So with your physical, with your body, you continue to engage in your activities, but in your mind, the mind aims to establish all beings in the state of enlightenment. So this is how Milarepa had practiced. He endured various hardships with a mind that wants to bring all sentient beings to enlightenment. He had no self-grasping. So what he's saying here in this line is that if you have no self-grasping, then there is no separate need to practice generosity, because generosity is the antidote to self-grasping. So yesterday we spoke about an outer aspect of generosity, and that the root of all suffering is self-grasping. So here it's maybe slightly different. Milarepa, for example, was someone who didn't really have anything to make an offering or to be generous. So then somebody else who has nothing to give, do they have self-grasping? Yes, they still have self-grasping. We all have it. For example, a little insect, like an ant, also has it. An ant wants to take care of its ant colony and the other ants. So there is self-grasping. So then the method to abandon self-grasping was taught by the Buddha, for example, by offering the 7 branches. And an example of making offerings here is that in your home, if you have a family and you have a home and possessions and money and so on, and you have a shrine, if you only just have a very small Buddha statue, like the size of a thumb joint, like an inch, or if you have a very small tanka, the size of your arm's length, only very small, then that is enough for you to think that this is the Buddha, and everything I own, everything I have in this house, in this life, belongs to this Buddha. Because everything I have, all my enjoyments and resources were actually given to us by the Buddha, because the Buddha showed us the path and showed us the right causes for happiness. And as a result of that, we have found happiness. So it was really all given to us by the Buddha. Due to the Buddha's kindness, we can now enjoy these resources. Actually, I own nothing myself. Everything that I have belongs to the Buddha, actually. And so that is also one reason why we are setting up representatives of the Buddha's body, speech, and mind, like statues in our home, because it is a support for us to get rid of self-grasping. Because everything that you own, you think the Buddha owns, this Buddha owns. And that is a method for your virtue to increase. Otherwise, if we don't dedicate our virtue in this way, then if we hold on to it and we claim it to be ours, then it can become destroyed by various causes. There is 4 causes that destroy our root of virtue, and one of them is that it can become destroyed by an afflictive emotion, or through taking pride in having practiced virtue and so on, or not dedicating. All of that destroys our roots of virtue, and that is why we need to dedicate. Dedication is one of the branches in the 7 branches. So in brief, what we need to understand is that the point of giving away of generosity is to become free of self-grasping. And once you have understood that, you will find methods to do that. For example, if you just recite a single Om Mani Padme Hum mantra, with this understanding, this one mantra becomes very powerful, actually. Because you have understood the cause. What is the cause? What is the purpose of generosity? Why are we supposed to be generous? We should be generous because we want to become free of self-grasping. Actually, if there is no more self-grasping, there also actually would be no more need to be generous.
Then thought that would be about Thompson, Dandy, Millimeter Charlie, Conte, our red. Then I thought I was didn't Dandy, the country, you go to True Young to country, you go car, Jagado. Nisaka, Negado. This in it, Tati, Nancelina, that comes in it. Do you not along to got a 3 young dancing? Yeah. That's subject of subject of the tongue, the insane, or some of them always. To love of capacity, Tawate Tarano, Goma something, Guba Capsataka, Tina, Tati Capsataka, or Bella, that religion of Maso Tavern, still tablet in it. Takalata, Takalasa, don't miss out on the Masaya, Jin Chamber, and what they have or whatever. They are hard on that, they're top courage, they're married back. Zapton son corso si vedanga goresinita. Tendo rigidity, Namsari became a song again. This is now to toss dongle, toss on the Kashik Chubamber, told them that go to something go yourself, Mera, and that told to be the Canada, just of the Justin of the suggestion, suggestion, Kashik go yourself. But so she told that one more go, Saji told on one side, Mary. So dancing in Boyna, dancing in Bodra Malari, but lot of the Gondania Michakre, Mendati and Latini. No, you charm me by Titam say Mirasi, Linge, you think Ram Jam something, Ram Jam dinner, don't charm me as a hardcore. Dear Harkle, dear Tamshir, simply so chatted or your it, distant Draka Hargo, dear Dungi you are, Daddy or Harko. Dear Tamshir, Daddy, the Daddy Jabu, the Mendarti and a song. 지 니바라더니 다 랑그 다도 좀 받아 정말 내라서 봐. 지 사지를 고도 랑그 도다리서 사지를 도다리서 한번 다 랑그 다니셔 뭐지 다니셔 뭐지 다니셔 왔어요 성을 되게 지서들이 돈다면라 다지 이메가 차서 타지 디메라들이 디메라리 방이 좁아야지 지 마도 말은 무슨 탐지는 저도 졸라 못 가면 다딘 초바 탐지 다지니 뭐 이거 하코니 제마지나 다 사지시간 초바 먹고 거기서나 이제 그 요말이 왜냐 이 탭적은 송도 그 송투인 탐지지 하절 못 쌓지 못이 우진이 자들아 셀라서와 곰제 때도 공거리 그 갈실 고요 사질 때도 쌓치고 고요래 말이 저도 좀 쌓치는 저 나한테 좀 제거 나 답변을 놀이 파는데 sempre 따따들 정디요래 제 정디 딱 같이 치나들이 나한테 제좀 치네 들이 치는 시송아 자티 무엇이 냠데 들이 sempre 대교래 시송을 들이 잘라 짜고 됐으면 라면 샤리 시송아 다 제냐도 다 내기 발린도 내가 줄 테냐도 내기 발랑네 전에 양다양도 들이 송동의 양들이랑 대제용을 빼대서 들이 나든도 배차고 중장 법이 용되다 뒤에서 당디면 대대왜 말을 배사 호강양 당시를 그때 무슨 땅 거요래 대외 제하고는 다지네 땅에서는 다지 님에만 맞고 봤더니 다 다지지 이거래 다지 님에만 돌아 다 메라고 말했어 배에서 다지 뭐 바로 다메와 돈나무 다지 니고 말이 제 맞고 봤더니 다지 양장도 카그 제라나 penguin 타발이라고 sem나 다지 뭐 맞고 봤더 조랑 탐지했지 잡동 총걸 로도 꼬와 제 탐지들이 오만 메호들이 이미 주심에가 드린 거래 제 뒤는 타톡되는 게 다지님에가 잘 이제 타톡 죽으면 잘해야들이 법에 기준 치다 예미 좋대 돈다고 사자지고 또 오더라들이 맨날 ambassador 그 Milarepa ambassador 가 가까면 때로 하고 요래 니고는 살로당 다디제 같이 해도 대셔도 살로당 양장도 살로당 거래지 대리들이 그런 탐색권 다디까지 문지 갑자기 약하라서나 나이다 라지 사포트를 하고 강디고 공고여다다 제것도 다 요말하더나 다들 이게 홈주고 거기다 다 요말해平庸소랑 집어지 다 매비용 되니까 다 요는 중상 다 요는 때들이 차상 똑바시 맞지 요래 뒤고로 삼모십도 땅된데 삼모도다 치모요래서
So we need to abandon self-grasping, and that is the perfection of generosity. So first we cultivate immeasurable love, and then we realize the ultimate truth. And only at that point, actually, self-grasping has entirely disappeared. So this is how it was for Milarepa. And then for us, this clinging to a self constantly arises. So we first need to recognize that. How does it arise? When does it arise? And where is it actually? So it arises in our daily conduct. For example, when you're enjoying any of the 5 sense objects, that's when it arises, the self-grasping. Even as practitioners, when we are doing our practice, we recite those prayers of refuge and bodhicitta, and we say, may all sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. And then we go about our daily activities, and what are we actually doing there? Actually, what needs to be done is to sustain awareness of that, of love and compassion. That's the real meditation, is to practice love and compassion. But what we really do is really only think about ourselves. Even when we are eating food, all I think is, I need to eat, I want to eat something. There's this constant ongoing stream of thoughts that revolves around I. It's all about me all the time. So this is very important to recognize. And then what can we do about it? So Milarepa, for example, had said, you need to have the instruction where all eating and drinking becomes a Gana chakra, a feast offering. So there is a way to practice for each activity, for anything that you're doing. For example, regarding the Gana chakra, the talk, sometimes people think that when we are making these offerings to the 3 jewels, that the reason why we are making these offerings is because the 3 jewels need those offerings. And that is why we are offering a mandala. There's the billionfold mandala and the 8 auspicious symbols or 7 royal attributes and so on. Some people really believe that we should make these offerings because the Buddhas in the Pure Lands want those offerings. And for example, like here in a Dharma center like this, we are always asking for help and we are fundraising and so on, and we need support. And then people think that those Pure Lands must be just like a Dharma center. But actually, it's not like that. Actually, they have no need for our offerings. But the reason why we make these offerings is because it is an antidote to self-grasping. In the evening, you're practicing the Milarepa Guru Yoga, and in the mandala section in that text, we are bringing to mind the billionfold outer universe and offer this infinite field of outer mandala consisting each of 4 continents and Mount Meru and so on. So we are offering this a million and billion fold universe. So when you read this, what you need to understand is this limitless universe. There is a vast universe, and there are also limitless sentient beings in that universe. And all of these sentient beings suffer because of self-grasping. So when we offer the universe, what we really offer is the self-grasping of all these sentient beings in this limitless universe. So we gather it all into one and offer it up as a mandala. So that's the outer mandala. Then the inner mandala is where you offer anything that you personally own, like your possessions and your enjoyments, even your own body, your family, children, and so on. But you should always be clear on, does the Buddha need this, or is that actually for my own purpose? So we need to be clear that the reason why we make these offerings is to release our own self-grasping. And then ultimately, on the ultimate level, when we become free of dualistic grasping altogether, like Milarepa, then there is no more self-grasping. But then we have not realized that, and in order to realize that, we have to practice continuously in all of our day-to-day activities. And in our activities, we need to recognize self-grasping and the antidote to it. So making offerings and so on is not something that the Pure Lands and the deities and so on need. Also, there's this one book that I saw, and in there it says, there is this, when you make offerings like a mandala offering, it should be made of very precious substances, enlightened body, speech, and mind, and a crown ornament made out of gold and of diamonds and so forth. And so why is that actually? It's not that the Buddhas actually need those precious gems and stones and so on, but it's because we think that they are precious and very expensive. And the more we let go of something that we think is very precious, the more our self-grasping also goes away. For example, we consider diamonds as very valuable, very precious. So the more precious we think something is, the stronger our clinging to that object is. And when our clinging is very strong to a certain object, then after one has died, the consciousness goes there. It stays with that object and temporarily in this way takes on a negative birth close to that object. And then later, again and again, one takes birth in the 3 lower realms and experiences suffering there. What Milarepa is saying here is the essence of generosity. He himself had already let go of all fixations, all clinging, this entire world. So until then, until we become like that, we need to practice generosity. So until we have realized that there is no self and other, we have self-grasping. And until then, therefore, there is a need to make offerings like the mandala offering and so on. And it's something that we actually have to practice. It is not enough if we just speak about it. But until self-grasping has completely dissolved, really sincerely, we have to practice this. For example, in whatever you do, in all your activities, when you're eating and drinking, it should become a Gana Chakra talk offering. Or when you're walking around, it becomes a circumambulation. Or you recite the Mani mantra continuously. You have to remember something continuously until you ultimately realize non-duality. And that realization is actually the ultimate mandala offering. It is said that when you realize Mahamudra, then there is no more duality between someone who makes an offering and an offering to be made. In the context of Milarepa practice, for example, then you would think there is no division between me and Milarepa any longer. So it's important to really think about how this self-clinging arises again and again in all of our day-to-day activities, and recognize it when it arises. For example, when you're eating food, bring up some awareness and think that I am the Yidam deity, and eating the food is a Gana Chakra offering because my body is pervaded by mandala deities. If you think in this way, there is no sense of an I. Or if that is too much, you can just think of the syllable Hong, for example. If you think of the syllable Hong, then there is no self. So the fault of there being a self is that from there develop thoughts of attachment and aversion and clinging attachment. So this is the point to consider here. So for dedication, Rinpoche would like us to read the dedication in the blue book on page 70.
Glorious, holy, venerable, precious, kind, root, and lineage lamas, divine assembly of Yidams and assembly of Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Viras, Varinis, Yoginis, and Dakinis, dwelling in the 10 directions, please hear my prayer. May all the virtues collected in the 3 times by myself and all in samsara and nirvana, and the innate root of virtue, not result in the 8 worldly concerns, the 4 causes of samsara, or ripen as the state of a Shravaka or a Pratyeka Buddha. May all other sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me and mine, obstructors who harm, maras who mislead, and the hordes of demons, experience happiness, be separated from suffering, and swiftly attain unsurpassed, complete, perfected, precious Buddhahood. By the power of this vast root of virtue, may I benefit all beings through my body, speech, and mind. May the afflictions of desire, hatred, ignorance, arrogance, and jealousy not arise in my mind. May concern about fame, reputation, wealth, honor in this life not arise for even a moment. May my mind stream be moistened by loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta, and through that may I become a spiritual master with good qualities equal to the infinity of space. May I gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra in this very life. At the time of death, may the suffering of severing the life channel not arise. May I not die with negative thoughts. May I not die confused by wrong view. May I not experience an untimely death. May I die joyfully and happily in the great luminosity of the mind as such, and the pervading clarity of Dharmata. May I, in any case, gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra at the time of death or in the bardo. And now on page 15, the long life prayers. Page 15 in the yellow prayer book. Page 15. For this realm encircled by snow-covered mountains, you are the source of every benefit and bliss without exception. Tenzin Gyamso, you who are one with Avalokiteshvara, may you remain steadfast until samsara's end. You are the embodiment of all the precious ones. You, a great being, are the holder and the promoter of the teachings of the Shakya lion. Your perfect actions are for the liberation of sentient beings. May you, the Jetsun Lama, whose enlightened activities are spontaneously present, live long. The precious holder of the triple gem of Drigungpa, who preserves the indisputable practice of the profound Dharma, who has realized the sublime truth which reveals peace and illumination. May you who relieve the suffering of limitless beings live long. The one known in the Holy Land as Aryadeva, emanated into the Gar clan of eastern Tibet as Drudingpa, the heart son of Jigten Gunpo. May the life of the glorious Garchen remain steadfast for 100 aeons. In this age of strife, when the victor's teaching faces hardship, through his powerful Vajra-like conduct, he takes on himself the heavy responsibility of the unbiased teaching. May Garchen, the son of the teachings, live long. You who are richly endowed with the glorious wealth of Dharma knowledge, who through reflecting and meditating have actualized the self-aware absolute reality, and shine with 100,000 light rays of ethical discipline of the Buddha Dharma. May you, Kenshin Ratnadwaza, live long. You possess the repository of the essence teachings of the past supreme siddhas. You, the precious Kunjok, are the refuge of all beings. You are the treasure trove of all the wish-fulfilling Norbus. Drupang Kunjok Norbu, I supplicate you. By the power of the wealth of our devotion and virtue, and of the deities of the three roots and guardians, may the life of the Guru, glorious protector, hold firm, and his actions ceaselessly spread in the 10 directions. Your 1,000 arms are the 1,000 Chakravartin kings. Your 1,000 eyes are the 1,000 Buddhas of this fortunate era. I prostrate to the Venerable Chenrezig, who shows whatever is needed to subdue those to be subdued.